I spent the weekend and a lot of money looking up these reports. I don't know if I'm sure you've seen some of this. Liberals keep aggressively asserting on TV, well, studies show immigrants commit less crime than Americans do. Now, I know that's not true. What I don't know is how they're lying. So I wanted to know, and I try to get the reports. Well, first of all, you ought to be suspicious that one of the arguments they're making is, well, New York City has a lot of immigrants, and I don't see a lot of crime here. That's not a study. That's not science. It's retarded. And, you know, Geraldo was making that argument with me, and Geraldo is not a stupid man, so the facts must not be very good. But anyway, I try looking for the studies, and I put in, sometimes you'd get a reference to the name of a researcher, and then I was looking on Nexus to try to see where are these studies, can I see what they're saying? And you'll get a professor from such and such a university, well, I just did a study, and it turns out first-generation immigrants commit far less crime than Americans. But they're all hidden. I'd track down the study. They're all hidden behind paywalls. And, you know, I'm already paying for Scribd, for Nexus, for a billion different services. So first I wasted 2 hours thinking, come on, you're not going to make me pay $50 for this crap-ass study. But, yeah, I had to keep paying $50 just so I could skim down, find out what the lie is, which is what I'm probably going to tell you all about in my column this week, but I'll tell you right now. They are not looking at Americans. They are looking at criminal Americans.
Yep.
I mean, they have different ways of doing it, but one guy, and the big headline, and he's being quoted in the Dallas Morning News and the New York Times, well, my study showed first-generation immigrants, far less crime than Americans, the native-born Americans. So then you see what he looked at. He's looking at the trajectory, as he says. So the base population were juvenile offenders. So this is someone who has already been convicted of a crime, which he admits, well, my base study began with 45% blacks, 33% Hispanics, and 15% whites. That's not a cross-section of America. That's a cross-section of our criminal population. The other ones will, you know, pick a city at random and look at the native-born Americans versus immigrants. Let's take Detroit. What? Wait, I'm sorry. Do you think I'm not going to point out that the black underclass has a very high crime rate? Because I'm going to point it out. No, I'm thinking we want immigrants to have, to not just beat the black crime rate. I want them beating the Norwegian crime rate. I mean, why should I'm skipping all past this, all lies. I'm skipping past this to get to the point. Why are any criminals coming in? No, we have our own criminals. We don't need more. Because, again, the topic sentence on any discussion about immigration, it is a government policy like any other. It ought to be used to benefit the people here. If you are bringing in one child molester, one drunk driver, one person who needs government services, or English language lessons that are going to have to be paid for by the taxpayers, that is not helping the people already here. I mean, there's ones they keep talking about, you know, the hardworking ones that don't commit crimes, and, you know, they're working so hard and supporting their family of four and sending half of their $8 an hour salary home, and, you know, that's fantastic. They're very admirable. But how does it help America? No, it doesn't. They're using schools and services and hospitals and medical services and the housing aid, and they're sending, immigrants to America, both legal and illegal, are sending $20 billion back to Mexico every year. That's funding Carlos Slim, who saved the New York Times from bankruptcy, another chapter in my book. You know, Carlos Slim makes money off of immigration, especially illegal immigration, to the United States. $20 billion, that is a cost of immigration you will never be told about. $20 billion being sucked out of the American economy. That is money that will never be used to buy an American product, to hire an American worker, to purchase an American house, or tip an American busboy. No, that is just being sucked out of the American economy. We ought to just, tax Americans. I mean, it takes a circuitous route from American taxpayers to the U.S. government to the low-wage immigrants who need the support from the taxpayers. That's why they can take those low-wage jobs, who, lives in an apartment with 5 other immigrants and then sends it back to Chiapas, his grandmother, who then buys Carlos Slim products. Carlos Slim owns 40% of the companies on the Mexican stock exchange, so he needs that money in Mexico. They then buy a Carlos Slim product, and it goes into Carlos Slim's pocket. So why don't can we just write a check to Carlos Slim?